Welcome back to another prediction video. In this video, I'm going to be going through every fight on the UFC Perth card, which is a really stacked card. But anyway, let's just get some of these out of the way. Luma Lookboom versus Alexia Thainara. Probably going to go with Thainara to win this fight. Lookboom can strike a little bit, but I think this fight's going to go to the ground. Thainara took Molly McCann down pretty easily in a matter of minutes and then rear naked choked her. So I'm probably going to go with her to win this fight. Brando Peresic, I think it is, versus Alicia Ellison. So, two heavyweights. This is a heavyweight fight. They fought nothing but bums. Haven't gone to the Contender Series. They're in the UFC. If you actually look through Big Marcel's Instagram page, you'll find that there's plenty of heavyweight fights, and barely any of them have been through the Contender Series or anything for that matter. I'm gonna go with Alicia Ellison to win this fight. I just think he's more explosive, faster, got more power in his hands. I think he's gonna win this fight, but maybe Perisic whips something out. I know he's taken down opponents in the past. Also got submitted by rear naked choke. Hasn't fought the best opponents himself. But I'm gonna go with Ellison to win this fight by being more explosive and faster. And he's also never been to a decision. Michelle Montague versus Luana Carolina. I will go with Michelle Montague to win this fight. She has a wrestling background. She's fought in PFL, and I know she has 6 wins by rear naked choke. And she has 6 professional fights, so all her professional wins are by rear naked choke. Luana Carolina, I remember her getting knocked out by Molly McCann and nothing else. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to go with Montague to win this fight by her getting takedowns and a rear naked choke, or maybe a decision. WMMA. Kobe Thickness versus Josiah Musasa. I'll go with Kobe Thickness to win this fight. Had some moments of success versus Alexandre Topuria. Couldn't really get any takedowns or much on the feet. He also got wobbled at some point in the fight and taken down a little bit. But he is alright, I think he's pretty quick. He's decently well-rounded. Josiah Musasa, explosive. Still got submitted by Carlos Hernandez. He also got wheel kicked in that fight. He also got dropped with it was like a step away head kick. Dropped him and then got submitted by rear naked choke by Carlos Hernandez. Or no, it's not Carlos Hernandez. Carlos Vera. That's who it is. But yeah, I'm going to go with Kobe Thickness to win this fight. Probably by decision or submission. I'm going to say decision. 29-28. Honestly, actually, no. 30-27. Changing it. 30-27. Jamie Malarkey versus Rolando Bedoya. I'm sorry, I can't pick Jamie Malarkey to win a fight in the UFC. I'm going with Rolando Bedoya to win this fight. Probably by decision. He doesn't have much knockout power. But he can grapple a little bit. He probably wins a decision based on a few takedowns. Maybe gets close with some submission attempts. Probably lands some good shots. He had a good fight with Jai Herbert. That was actually a war. That was an actual good fight. And Malarkey, it's been a while since we've seen him. It was UFC 301. That was May 2024. He lost to Mauricio Rufy, which I don't think Bedoya would beat Rufy either, but he's been inactive, hasn't really done too much. I think Bedoya's going to win this fight. Jonathan McCaleb versus Oban Elliott. If you showed me this fight before Oban Elliott, before his last fight versus Sukyanko, I would have picked him to win, but he just got out-grappled for the whole fight. Was looking, honestly, or even going back and forth in striking. Well, not really back and forth, but what I'm saying is he didn't even have a great advantage on the feet in that fight. Jonathan McCaleb, he's a pretty good striker. Got good kicks, good body kicks versus Kevin Jusset. I don't think Kevin Jusset looked good in that fight at all. And then he got cut after that. But Oban Elliott, he had been 3-0 in the UFC. Got a KO versus Basil Hafez. Won a decision against Val Woodburn, who's fighting at Combat Night MMA now. You know, the guy who lost to Bo Nickel in a few seconds. He also fought Preston Parsons, won a decision. Wasn't a great fight, and Preston Parsons recently lost to Jacoby Smith. Or not recently, that fight was even a while ago, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Jonathan McCaleb to win this fight on the feet with his kicks. Good body kicks, maybe whips up a head kick, but maybe Oban Elliott gets this one done, because it's gonna be a different fight than the co-fight, because McCaleb is not a grappler, he's a striker, so we'll see what happens, but I'm going with McCaleb by decision. Cam Rouston versus Andre Petroski. You know, I thought about this for a couple seconds. I'm gonna go with Cameron Rouston win this fight by KO. Like, I know Petroski can wrestle a little bit, and Rouston has been out-grappled in the past by Torres Finney. You know, Torres Finney. We all know Torres Finney. But Andre Petroski, I don't trust his chin. I think Cam Rouston's probably going to touch him early. If not, he's probably going to win the decision based on grappling. But I'll go with Cam Rouston to win the fight by early TKO. Navajo Sterling versus Rodolfo Bellato. I'm definitely going with Navajo Sterling on this one. Rodolfo Bellato's last fight was Paul Craig. How did the fight go with Paul Craig, you might ask? Well, he was losing to Paul Craig, then got upkicked, and then went to a no contest. Faked the upkick. Won an Oscar award. Or didn't win an Oscar award, surprisingly, but yeah, I haven't really been impressed with Rodolfo Bellato in his last fight particularly, so I'm going to go with Navajo Sterling. Improving, young, I think he's about 24, 25. You can fact check me on that, but I think he's pretty young, and I'm going to trust in the improvement. I feel like he wins this fight by I'm going to say a TKO in round 2 or 3. Tom Nolan versus Charlie Campbell. Now this is a pretty interesting one. Tom Nolan has a good striker on the other side of him, and Tom Nolan, he's been able to mix in grappling here and there. Hasn't really been able to get any submissions or that close in the UFC. Last one was Vyacheslav Borshev. Took him down quite a bit, but at this point, please finish Vyacheslav Borshev if you take him down. Please. I know he's a good striker, but on the ground, he's a fish out of water. And Alex Reyes, Tom Nolan fought him. I don't really have much to say about that. Charlie Campbell beat Trevor Peek. Was that his last fight? I can't remember, but I know he was piecing up Chris Duncan, dropped him on multiple occasions, almost had him finished, and then got KO'd. he got caught by Chris Duncan. You know, not too much shame in that. Chris Duncan's pretty good. I think he's almost ranked level in the UFC lightweight division. And Tom Nolan just doesn't really have much of a chin. Like, he's tall, he's long, he's gonna be a little bit harder to hit, but just another fighter I can't trust his chin. I completely forgot who it is. It was the Latino guy he knocked out. Got wobbled in that fight, and the fight before that, he got knocked out by Nicholas Mota. It was actually, who can be decent at times, but I feel like Charlie Campbell is going to find the KO blow in this fight. I'm going to say first round. Justin Tafa versus Louis Sutherland. Another heavyweight that has done nothing to be in the UFC. Fought complete bombs. He's not exciting either. The fights are boring. Versus the Brazilian guy. Don't watch it, it's a complete waste of your time, but he actually did get a KO versus, I forgot who it was. Again, he's fought nobody, but, I mean, Justin Tafa isn't so impressive either. Got TKO'd by Talson Teixeira in 35 seconds. Got knocked out by Derek Lewis a couple months ago. You know, it was a weird stoppage, but he got dropped bad. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Justin Tafa to win this fight by KO versus Louis Sutherland, another blob. All right, let's move on to Jake Matthews versus Neil Magny. Somewhat interesting fight. I will go with Jake Matthews by TKO. Neil Magny can be tricky. Yeah, some fighters might get clinched up by him. Some fighters might separate from the clinch and get a KO versus Neil Magny, or get a submission, or maybe get TKO'd in the last, 15 seconds it was, like Malott I'm talking about. Or you could just dispose of him like Carlos Prates did. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Jake Matthews by TKO. I think he gets rid of Neil Magny. His boxing, it can look good, but sometimes it doesn't look so good. I think it can be neutralized versus it got neutralized by Michael Morales, who found a decision win over Jake Matthews. But Morales, not too much shame in losing to Morales. I'm going to go with Jake Matthews to find some shots on Neil Magny, probably by elbows, some knees. I think he can crack Neil Magny. Probably doesn't get caught up in a clinch. He probably has the ability to take Neil Magny down and maybe find a submission. But I'm going to say he wins this fight by TKO. I'll say second round. That sounds about right. And then Jack Jenkins versus Ramon Taveras. There's some interesting factors about this fight. Ramon Taveras is moving up to heavyweight in this fight. He was fighting at bantamweight before this. Lighter man skill, Lost to Davey Grant, who is a crafty vet. But Ramon Taveras kind of just boxes. He just throws punches and nothing else. Like, that's pretty much all to his game. He can fight some good punches, but Jack Jenkins, I think, is just going to mix in kicks. Maybe shoots offensively, but, he did get submitted in his last fight versus Gabriel Santos, I believe his name. Got hurt with a front kick by Gabriel Santos, but he did drop him with a head kick. But, I thought Jack Jenkins was going to do better in that fight, to be honest. I'll still go with him by kicks versus Ramon Taveras. I think he's going to mix in the kicks and probably find his way to a decision win. Jimmy Crute versus Ivan Urslan. Our co-main event, if you can believe that. I'll go with Jimmy Crute, though. I picked Ivan Ursulin to beat Navajo Sterling in his last fight, but, I mean, he was doing okay, but got hurt at the very end of the fight. Might have went on to maybe not win the fight, but I gave the first round to him. He cut Navajo Sterling pretty good. But just very simple on the feet. I don't think he really has the X factor in this fight. I do think that a capable striker with decent takedown defense will beat Jimmy Crute, but Jimmy Crute actually has something special about him. Like, he can grapple. I don't think at the highest level, but I'll say his grappling will win him this fight. Probably by submission at some point in the fight. I could say, honestly, any round. I'm going to go with him by submission. I don't know what submission. Honestly, anything. Okay, let's move on to the main event and the only fight of significance on the whole card. Carlos Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes. We're finally at the important fight. It took until the main event. But who am I going to go with for this fight? You know, it's actually interesting. I've seen the way that Carlos Ulberg can swing in the pocket, and he does get kind of reckless. Dominic Reyes maybe could catch him, but I'd say Dominic Reyes is definitely a much more devastating counter striker than he is on the front foot. He does have a big power advantage, I feel like, versus Carlos Ulberg, but I will go with Carlos Ulberg to win the fight by decision. I mean, the Jan Blachowicz fight wasn't that great, and I do think that he lost that fight, but then again, he was outlanding Jan, which is a pretty impressive thing to do. He was getting some good leg kicks, I mean, they were tapping shots, but, like, he fought his fight versus Jan Blachowicz. It wasn't a very exciting fight, but I feel like he can replicate a similar game plan with Dominic Reyes and moving on the outside, avoiding the big shot, especially the left hand, but which definitely is the big advantage that Reyes has in this fight, the power and the left hand. If Carlos Ulberg makes a bad entry into the pocket, then he could probably get KO'd, but I'll say Ulberg stays on the outside. There probably won't be much grappling in this fight. This should be a striking match, and in a 5-rounder, I'm going to go with Carlos Ulberg to win by decision. Maybe Reyes catches him. I've been counting out Reyes a little bit as of late, but he has made a resurgence. I do like Dominic Reyes. I'm rooting for him. I want to see him find another title shot because he was robbed against John Jones. Absolutely no argument for John Jones to win that fight, but I gotta go with Ulberg by decision. So that's it, guys. We're almost at 20 minutes here. I'm sorry for taking this long. I somehow found that much bullshit to say, but I'll see you for a recap of this card, so see you later.